Hi everybody, welcome to the second video of the Mastering Anatomy series. In today's video, we are going to focus on understanding the different anatomical terms of movements. So let's get started. What exactly will we be learning today? Well, we're going to define the different types of movements / actions and which anatomical planes each movement occurs in. And then we will also predict the different types of movement a muscle is capable of based on its attachment points. So let's get started. So we have flexion and extension. So flexion and extension occur in the median or sagittal plane, and flexion is the bending or decreasing angle between the bones / parts of the body. In this case, above the knee, flexion involves a movement in the anterior direction. Now, extension is the straightening or increasing angle between the bones / parts of the body. And in this case, above the knee, extension involves movement in the posterior direction. And you can see it here on the image on the right. The differences between flexion of the arm and extension of the arm, and then also flexion of the leg, and then extension of the leg. Now, you have to remember that the knee is the exception. Flexion is posterior movement, and extension of the knee is anterior movement. And you can see it here on the image on the right. Extension would be anterior movement, while flexion of the knee would be posterior to the back. Now, abduction and adduction occur in the frontal or coronal plane, and abduction is movement away from the median plane, moving laterally away from the side of the body, and you can see abduction of the arm as shown here. And then adduction is movement closer to the median plane, moving medially towards the side of the body, and you can see adduction of the arm in this direction here. And then adduction and abduction of the leg can also be seen here. So abduction of the leg is movement to the lateral side, and then adduction is movement to the medial side of the body or median plane. Now, rotation moves a part of the body around its longitudinal axis in the transverse plane, and medial or internal rotation brings anterior surface of the limb closer to the median plane. You can see medial or internal rotation of the arm going towards the median plane. Same goes with medial rotation of the leg towards the medial plane. Now, lateral or external rotation brings anterior surface of the limb away from the median plane. In this case, you're moving laterally, so away from the median plane towards that direction for the leg. And same goes for the arm, moving laterally away from the median plane. Now, circumduction is the sequential movement of flexion, abduction, extension, adduction, or in reverse order. And the distal portion of the limb moves in a circle. And you can see here on the right, circumduction is moving in a circle. And the joint has to be capable of all these types of movement to be able to qualify as a circumduction of the joint. And the way that I remember circumduction and what it does is that I remember the circumference of a circle, and the circumference of the circle is it just goes back to math class when we were learning about circumference and radius. And that really helps me remember what circumduction does. So now, flexion of wrist and fingers, which is movement in the anterior direction, and you can see it right here, flexion of the wrist and then flexion of the fingers. Extension of wrist and fingers is movement in the posterior direction, and you can see extension of the hand moves back, and then extension of the fingers is just extending your fingers. It doesn't have any movement to the back. Now, pronation rotates forearm, so palm of the hand faces posteriorly, while supination rotates forearm, so palm of the hand faces anteriorly. And you can see supination is to the side of the palm facing anteriorly, while pronation is the palm facing posteriorly. Now, abduction of the digits, which is movement away from the median plane, is shown here. So you are moving your fingers away from the median plane. And then adduction is movement towards the median plane. Now, the third digit of the hand and second digit of the foot can medially or laterally abduct from their neutral position. And flexion and extension of the thumb is movement in the frontal plane, while abduction and adduction of the thumb is movement in the sagittal plane. And you can see it here on the right. Abduction is movement away, while adduction is movement towards the hand, and same goes for extension, but extension will be movement in the frontal plane, while the same goes for flexion of the thumb. Now, opposition is bringing the pad of the thumb to the pad of another finger, which can be seen here. And then reposition is just bringing the thumb back into its anatomical position. Now, dorsiflexion is the flexion of the ankle, shown here on the right. And then plantar flexion is extension of the ankle, shown here as well. Eversion is the movement of the sole of the foot away from the median plane, so you're moving laterally. And then inversion is movement of the sole of the foot towards the median plane, so you're moving medially. Now, this is all of the different anatomical terms that you have to learn in connection with movements. And after going through all of this information, let's do a knowledge check. And you can pause the video here, and once you're ready with your answer, unpause the video and see if you got the answer correct. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this video and becoming the next masters of anatomy. And until next time, guys, bye.